The old way of leading is over. We cannot continue to build from pressure, lead from fear, and call it purpose. We were never created to be driven by hustle. We were created to be led by the Holy Spirit.
Live with purpose. Lead with light. Led by the Spirit, we rise and lead right. God-led leader is a way of life. It's a way of life. Oh, it's a way of life. Oh, yeah. It's a way of life.
Welcome to another episode of the God-Led Leader Podcast. Tonight's episode is going to be absolute fire. I'm so excited. You know what? Let's get right to it. As I always say, I don't want to waste any time. She is a very, very busy lady. Our tonight's guest, is none other than Miss Rhonda M. Glynn. She is the Fundability strategist and founder of Zoma Business Solutions. She helps women-led businesses, especially Caribbean and Black women founders, move from visibility to structure, credibility, and fundability. Her work focuses on helping founders build businesses that are not only inspired, but clear, documented, sustainable, and ready to be trusted with opportunity, capital, partnerships, and growth. With more than 30 years, yes, I said 30 years, with more than 30 years of professional experience across aviation, training, security, leadership, business development, and financial readiness, Rhonda brings a practical, grounded, and deeply human approach to business strategy. Please help me welcome tonight's guest, Ms. Rhonda M. Glynn.
Hi.
How are you?
I am good. Good.
I'm so super excited. I'm ready.
We literally hit the ground running almost immediately. So this should be really, really good conversation, especially for women. Because
I think a lot of people will be impressed.
We have to see a thing to know that it actually exists. And
Amen.
At this stage of life, we are speaking truth to power.
That part. And nothing less. And nothing less. Let's get right into it because I'm already on fire. When we were backstage, I can hardly wait. So we're gonna get straight to it because I don't want to waste any of my minutes with you tonight. Let me ask you this. Before the business knowledge, funding expertise, all of those good things before Zoma, who was Rhonda?
Rhonda went back to school when Rhonda was 40 years old. I've been on my own since I turned 21. I left high school without a full certificate. And I always tell people I didn't choose aviation. Aviation chose me. I was looking for a job. The first 10 years of my life in aviation, I became a seasoned professional. People saw my work. People saw the fact that I was very comfortable interfacing with people, and I had mentors who sent me in the direction, get more qualified, go on aviation courses, to the extent where I was the first internationally certified instructor in my job and the first female. I was the first female in the history of the organization. I was the very first. But I still was without a full college certificate. And here's what happened. I had almost an epiphany. I told myself that I would be 60 years old because remember, I started as a security officer. And I had an epiphany. I said to myself, you know what, Rhonda? You are going to be 60 years at some point in time. And if you don't take decisive action, you are going to be standing outside a supermarket or a grocery or pharmacy or something like that with a riot staff. And somebody is going to say, but you're so pretty and you're so bright. Why? What became of you? And I could have said, my parents didn't help me and I didn't get the family support, but nobody cares at that point in time. So I remember CS telling a girlfriend of mine, I say, I don't care if I am going back to learn to make cupcakes. I am going back to school. Added to which because I was this bright, I was being bypassed for promotions. Because when you are a woman and you're the smartest woman in the room, sometimes that works against you. And I decided I was going to go back to school. And here's what happens. The first semester, I did a certificate course. And the very next semester, the government brought free tertiary level education. I rode that train because I knew I would never have an opportunity like that again. Absolutely. And I worked and went to school. So I went from 4 O-levels to an associate degree, to a bachelor's degree, to a master's degree. And I was working, teaching, and going to school at the same time. And now I'm finishing a doctorate. I literally decided that if I don't do this now, when? And two things happened. One, I fell in love with learning. 1, and 2, I didn't know how smart I was. I really didn't. Wow. I really didn't. And it changed my life completely. It changed my life completely. So when I say to women, I have been where they have been, yeah, I have been there. I just made different choices. And this is why I tell people that God always sends helpers. God always sends helpers. And that is the person that I was before I became this person. It is when I was doing my doctorate, in the first year of my doctoral program, I did a course on global entrepreneurship. And it blew my mind. And I realized that that entrepreneurship would probably offer women a vehicle that would help them become economically independent. And that was the inspiration to start the business that I do today.
Wow. Right. Well, nothing, and that's the one thing I think that social media makes young people or young women feel like things just happen overnight or they happen easily, and that couldn't be furthest from the truth, right? And I have all of these sort of fluff questions I was going to open up with, but I have to say some of the things that we talked about before we began this episode, I want to just jump right into because we only have a limited amount of time, and you really you made it on me from the beginning. You came in hot.
It is my aviation background. It is my aviation background. I have worked in a global space. I have worked in a global space for over 30 years.
Yeah. So, let's talk about, let's have the conversation that we were having prior to recording this episode. Let's talk about what you talked. Let's get back to it. You talked about how our trauma, right, is related to our financial or funding issues. Expound on that, like explain that, talk a little bit more about that. I want to pick up where we left off because that was really good. If we spent our whole 30 minutes talking about that, I wouldn't be mad. It was just, you're really making me think about things from a different place, from a different perspective. And you said, I don't want to, get on here and tell them that I know and do. And that's very refreshing. Take over.
I have been where they have been. I have been 21 and couch surfing because I had nowhere to live. I have been at 27 bouncing from short-term jobs to short-term jobs. There's something that I did. I was working in a printery, and when the printery closed for Christmas, we would not be working for 3 months. And at that time, I was renting a little apartment and whatnot. And I remember I used to buy a writing pad. Remember back before everything was digital, we actually used to write letters, and I
Sit
would
as
buy
yellow
a
paper.
writing. Buy a writing pad, and I would fill that writing pad with job applications to everywhere until the writing pad was empty.
Mm.
And that's how I ended up in Piarco, because I sent a job application to my job, to that job, and they called me in for an interview, and I aced the interview.
Mm.
And at 27 years of age, I really got my first permanent job. But
Mhm.
here's what happens. Here's what happens. And I'll give you a real life story. At 18, I wanted to go to Toronto to do a degree in graphic art. And I have 4 brothers, and I'm an only girl.
Mm.
My father refused to send me
Wow.
because his excuse was that I would go to Canada and I would end up taking care of some man. That is exactly what he told me.
Wow.
And what happens a lot of the time with women is that when people speak into their aspirations, they start to believe that what those people have said to them is the truth.
Mhm.
And I literally threw away my dream for nearly
Mm.
10 years
Wow.
because I felt that it was too much for me to achieve, because the person closest to me, whose opinion mattered to me, told me that I couldn't. Think about that for a second. How many women out there who have dreams, who have ambitions, who have talents, and the world is saying to them, you cannot.
Mm.
And they internalize that cannot, and that's where
Mhm.
the conditioning and the trauma comes from.
Mm.
So let's take it one step forward. A lot of the time, women start businesses based on scarcity. It's a side hustle, it's a way to bring an extra dollar to the table. So they
Mhm.
never see it as something that they could build legacy wealth on. So it's always scarcity. And because very early we are usually bypassed in favor of our brothers and our uncles and the males in the family or the males in the community, the message is we are never going to build beyond that.
Mhm.
So when we
Absolutely.
internalize it as scarcity entrepreneurship, then that is where the trauma and the conditioning comes in, because our
Mm.
pricing is off,
Mhm. Ooh.
our cash flow is off,
Mhm.
our predictable money is off,
Mhm.
everything to do with our business is off. And then we get the message that we are seen by the funders as risky. It is
Mm.
not about being risky. And I tell people this all the time. Money, numbers is a language. Just
Mm.
like French, just like
Mhm.
Spanish, just like any other language, the trick is you have to get good at the language.
Ooh, that's good.
You have to get good at the language, because if
Mm.
you read any male entrepreneur's biography, that's the first thing they say. That's the first thing Damon John says. Is the
Mhm.
first thing that Stephen says. Is the first thing that Chris Doe says. Get
Mhm.
good with numbers. But
Mhm.
here's what they tell us, that we are not good with numbers. So we shrink
Mhm.
ourselves to less than who we can be, because we feel that there are rooms and spaces that we do not have access to. But who said that? Who said
Mhm.
that to us?
Mhm.
We have said that to us. I was 18 and my dad said that I could not aspire to become a graphic artist because he was the one who had to fund my dream. And he said no. And I believed it.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
10 years afterwards, when people, strangers, as I said, God always sends helpers. 10
Always.
years, 10 years into the future, people started to see my talent and they started to push me forward. So that is where my confidence built. So when
Mhm.
I speak to women about trauma, the trauma turns up in their pricing. The trauma
Mhm.
turns up in them knowing their numbers. Because what you have to do is understand the story of your business using numbers, using that language. That is the language. That is the language. So there are women who have visibility. They have clientele. They are making money. People love what they do. But underneath all the flash and dash, which is what social media does to us, they are running very fragile businesses. And then when they have to go for funding, the funders cannot interpret passion. They cannot interpret effort. They cannot interpret how long you've done the business. They cannot interpret that. The language that you have to learn is the language that will allow them to be trusted. They will see you as a trusted partner in capital. Because there's only two questions the funders want to know, What are you going to do with the money and how are they going to get it back? Once you understand that language, then no, because they are going to lend the money to you, not the business. I think people need to understand that. So you literally have 10 minutes to pitch for your business. But so you have to make sure that you are not just saying, well, I am Rhonda and I have 30 years experience and I've done this, this, and this. They want to see the numbers. They want to see the clarity about your business. They want to see visually what you are doing with this business. What is your daily cash flow? Do you understand how much money is coming in and going out? You may have a very good product, but it's a low-bearing fruit. So therefore, your return on that invested capital is not enough. It's not enough. Sometimes we have a very good product, we have to discontinue it because we're not getting the feedback on it. The money that we're putting out and the money that we're getting back doesn't balance. So you cannot say that you are in business and that you are making revenue, so you ought to get funded. Funders will tell you not yet, because what you are bringing to them, they cannot interpret it. And here is another one I have to tell you. When we are rejected for funding, we take it personally.
Absolutely.
Let that one sit. Because we feel that we cannot get the money because it's a personal thing. They don't want to fund women. Of course they don't. Of course they do not want to fund women. They see women as high risk. They do. So how do you enter the room, not on your knees, but with a fight as a champion? How do you enter the room to take up space? How? With a command of the language. With a command of the language, because they're not looking for perfection. They are looking to see the predictability of your money and that you can tell the story of your business using numbers. And that's it. That is the trick. And that is what nobody is telling you.
I think that's what kills a lot of our businesses is missing or broken systems. We don't track our money. We don't have CMS systems. We're just flying by the seat of our pants, right? But
we're hoping.
Hoping, wishing, and praying, right? But I think a lot of us do have that stinking thinking, right? Because of somebody who planted a seed that said you can't.
Yeah, who told you that? Who told you that?
And it happens, I think, a lot for women because a woman who is determined, right? She can do anything. So I think a lot of times they break us down mentally or emotionally to try to hinder our growth. But I think we believe a lot of the lies that we're told, and that causes a lot of problems. I never really thought about it from the perspective of carrying that trauma into
it is trauma.
And then that makes you unfundable,
hang back.
Right? So,
it makes you hang back.
So where do you think a woman, if say you have an entrepreneur or a business, right, that she doesn't have systems, she's carrying that trauma, she's already started the business, what does she do now?
First
in
of
order
all,
to work towards becoming fundable? Because the one thing that you've said, the one thing you've said that has really stuck with me is you did the work, right? Whether it was acquiring the degrees or going after the jobs, having that notebook, right? You did the work. So I think a lot of us are sitting and waiting for AI to do it for us, and that's not going to happen. So I think for the women who have already started, who are doing it and they're doing it wrong, what is the first step towards fixing that?
this is something that, as an entrepreneur who works predominantly with women, the first question that I ask, because you can come to me and you can complain. Complaining is the easiest thing in the world. You don't need a first degree to complain.
Mm-hmm.
But here is the thing. After you have vented to me, or after you've told me everything that has gone wrong, the breaks that you didn't get, I didn't get any of my breaks and I made them. I got none. So here's the question that I ask. What do you want? Because it is very easy as women for us to say what we do not want. We could write an entire epistle on what we do not want. Tell me what you want. Okay, so you want, I have had this experience. You want a house. You want a house. Where is that house located? You can't tell me. What is that house going to look like? You can't tell me. What are the rooms in the house? How many bedrooms? What is the color of the building? What is it? Is there a yard? Is that, you see?
Specificity. The Bible talks
Yes,
about it.
because
That's right.
it is almost like magnetizing your desire. It pulls your desire to you.
What do you say? Write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
It's all written. We
A
just
lot of
ignore it.
people believe that the Bible was written for old time days. The Bible is a book of life that is about people, written by common, ordinary people. Understand that.
Yesterday, today, and forevermore.
Nothing has changed since the days of the Bible. But here's the thing. The Bible is also a teaching tool. If you want this thing, you have to build in your head what it is going to look like. So somebody comes to me, they want to start a business, and we're not even talking numbers as yet. There are 4 questions that I ask every client before we even get started. Who do you want to serve? Why do you want to serve those people? How do you plan to serve those people? And this is the big one. Why should they care? Because you have to give them a reason to care. You have to give them a reason to care. Now, you can break that down into the biggest picture that you want for this business. And then we could reverse engineer the thing. So 5 years from now, what is this business going to look like? One of the things that we forget, especially as female entrepreneurs, that your business must finance your lifestyle. If it is not financing your lifestyle, then it is a hobby. If it is not financing your lifestyle, then it is a hobby. So you have to get real with this thing. So we could work it backwards, reverse engineer. What are we going to do? So we want to have, and that's where the numbers come in. Your client base, what is the increase you want? You want an increase of 5%, 10%, 15% uptick. What is your profit margin? What are you looking for in this quarter? You see how numbers become important? Here's the thing, CS. Numbers don't care about your feelings.
At all.
So when you have to deal with numbers, you get out of your feelings completely. So you are literally measuring twice and cutting once. So a client who wants something, they could come to me. Let us build the big picture, and we're going to break it down into tasks and subtasks. So we are going to break it down to the smallest palatable piece. And we are going to attach numbers to that, not feelings, numbers. So if you want to scale in 5 years, then you have to start to prepare for scaling from now. Because you do not look for money when you need money. You build your system so that money will be attracted to you.
Magnet, that's right. The money
that's a magnet. That is the magnet. And here's the amazing thing. We have never been taught these things. So there are women who have PhDs, and cannot balance their checkbooks.
Amen.
And they make and money. That is why I tell you
Women
that
are
money
afraid. I
is
think they're afraid
trauma
of
train.
numbers, though. Why do you think that
Yeah.
you're afraid to talk about money, or really afraid to really put the pen to the paper and really look at it? I think they're afraid to look at it because
Yeah.
those numbers oftentimes scare us.
There's a lot of shame tied up with numbers. Let me give you another story. When I was doing my MSc, because I don't have an MBA, I have an MSc, which is quantitative analysis. So I think in terms of systems and data. Aviation trained me to think that way. When I was doing accounting for business purposes, which was part of my MSc program, I failed that class 3 times.
Mm.
And I'll tell you what happened. I had never done accounting in high school, at undergrad, and now here I am at postgrad doing something that I never did before. And I used to be paralyzed with fear, paralyzed with fear in the classroom. And one day I sat down and I said to myself, because I'd done everything, and the only thing left for me to get my degree was to ace that course. And you know what I did? I asked for help. I called a friend of mine who was the head of the department when I was doing my bachelor's. And I never forgot. I said to Adriana, Adriana, I am acing everything and I'm failing this. I need help. And she sent me to a woman who was a chartered accountant who used to give classes on a Saturday. And I would leave my house and go about 10 miles away from where I'm living to sit in a woman's living room on a Saturday for her to teach me. When you do not know something, do not make the assumption that you are a dummy or that you are weak or this is an indictment on you. This is just something that you don't know. So you have to go in the direction of help. And I did. I went in the direction of help. I did over the course, ace the course, get my degree, keep it moving. So it's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with numbers.
I think people are so afraid of what they call "quote unquote" failure. I don't believe in failure. I believe we win or we
Listen,
learn. We win or we
let me
learn. And
let me
and that's the other thing you said too was ask for help. Like we've been
ask
programmed
for
that,
help. Ask for
I don't want her
help.
taking credit for my business or that she have that doesn't make sense. But
Listen to me.
I think that has happened because they know if we support, we're stronger together. That's it. Period, point blank. So what you're speaking to, I've spoke with a lot of even young women lately. I don't need nobody to help me with nothing. That's a huge mistake. That doesn't make any sense. So you spoke about two things. One, do what they call, because I don't agree with it, fail often, because that's how you learn, right? I don't believe it's
Yeah.
failure. I think you're learning. And then number two, ask for help.
Listen, let me tell you something that I know to be true now that I wish someone had told me. As women, we start to grow up at 40. 40 is the magic number. At 40, we start to challenge everything that we have ever been told about ourselves. And then we start to figure out how much of it is true and how much of it is things that people have said to us. I have a friend who, at 30, she left her teaching job and she went into STEM. And something she always says, who told you that about yourself? And that is the real issue. And I see young women who are making the most unworthy of people pour into them. You see, I'll tell you something. I'm a very straightforward person. You see, the soft life that women want, this soft life costs money.
That part.
That soft life costs money. You want a woman's stress level to go down, let her be able to pay her bills on a monthly basis.
That part.
Let her not have to stand in the supermarket and debate between her needs and her wants, not only for her, for her kids. You want to see a woman's entire life fall apart, divorce. Divorce hits women for six, as we say in the Caribbean. Because here's what happens in divorce. she realizes how much of her husband's assets are his.
That part. That part.
And
Mhm.
and she can't go to the court and say, well, she's been a good wife for 20 years. The person will say, I understand, Ms. Glynn, I totally sympathize, but these are the documents and these are the signatures. Now you have to depend on the goodness of your former partner, whether they're going to give you anything. I am saying that it is important that women learn the language of money, because that language of money is the language that was passed on to us by our aunties, our grannies, our ancestors, and they had very, very limited opportunities. You remember there was a time where a woman was not entitled to a loan unless her brother or uncle or father signs.
Absolutely.
Why we must
Absolutely.
why in 2026 we must even want to go back? This is a learning age. If you do not know something, go in the direction of knowledge.
Mhm.
And that's all I'm asking women to do. This is what
Mm.
fundability is about.
I was
It's
gonna
about
I
you.
was gonna say, for women who don't understand in just plain terms, what does being fundable mean? Like, if they don't know what that means, what does that mean? Because here's the thing, I think the one word that we could just slap on this episode is knowledge is power, right?
Of
I think
course.
that when we know better, we do better, and that's one of the reasons that I believe the Holy Spirit led me to create this podcast, is because we are stronger together. And I think that it's time that
Yes.
we, like he said, he tells me all the time, the mantle of my life is set the captives free. And people always think that that's money. That's a wealth thing. It's a wealth thing here, mindset, right? I
Yeah.
think that the setting free of the captives is our mindset. We have not, because really, because we don't believe, right? We don't believe that we can have these things or that we deserve these things. It's not even necessarily about deserving, but this is our birthright. Right, we are children of the Most High. So why do we act like? But you know what? I think a lot of it is passed down from generation to generation.
Yes, it
Like you
is.
said,
It is.
and they went through a lot, right? Those people whose
Yeah.
shoulders we stand on, they went through a lot. But we are afforded so many luxuries in this life, and not that we as women don't have it hard. And the world is really difficult right now. But I truly believe that God is calling us to. He says, take possession, take dominion. I say that all the time because it's like we're crying, and God, please help me with. I don't pray like that. I'm like, what is that going to
I
do?
mean,
What is that? How does that speak to
I
the
mean,
God, the Father, right, that we serve? That we act like peasants. And I think a lot of that is because we have what they call the mindset of the oppressed. That's something that's been ingrained in us. But we can, like you said, we can sit in that and blame this person or blame this or blame, or we can educate ourselves and push forward and step into the room like we belong there.
the renewal of the mind. The mind is renewed all the time. So let's talk a little bit about what fundability is. This just today, I have a Substack article that dropped the difference between financial literacy and fundability. Financial literacy is about building, understanding what money does, budgeting, all of that good stuff. Fundability is building processes that will allow a funder, an investor, a partner to trust you with their money. It is a process. It is a process. Most of the time we either talk ourselves out of going for a loan, so we don't have the confidence to go and ask for money. Our financial ask is limited. So what happens a lot of the time is that we get far less than we could actually use, one. And secondly, what also happens is that the funders cannot interpret our financial ask at all. So all they could tell us is not yet. So the component parts of fundability is clarity, being very clear about what it is you're coming to us for. Systems, what are the underlying systems in your day-to-day? Governance, is the business dependent on you alone for survival? What happens if you fall sick? Can the business continue? Systems, what are the systems that you have inside of this business that allows you to see where your money is going, your predictable income. This is different from revenue. Revenue is once a sale is completed, that's the circle. It ends right there. But the predictable income, what is the predictability of this income? Is this income that is seasonal, or is this income that you could actually, as we say in the Caribbean, put your head on a block for it? If you don't have those things, if you do not have those things, then they cannot interpret your risk, because that's what they're doing. They're assessing your risk. And here's what is happening.
That's a power list. You got to put a name on that list.
Yeah, because here is what is happening, and it's very data driven. Latin America and the Caribbean is one of the fastest developing areas for entrepreneurship, female entrepreneurship in the globe. 45% of all new businesses are being started by women. Now, that's it. There's a funding gap of over 93 billion US dollars. That funding gap is a funding gap only where women are concerned. So if there's 100% of any money that is being given, 98% of that money is going to men. 2% of that money is going to women. These are the numbers. 98% of all funding is being given to men. 2% is being given to women. And of that 2%, a little less than 1% is being given to Black women.
My God.
We are in a time where we cannot just say that the system is not designed for us. Of course, the system is not designed for us. But you know what we have to do? We have to learn the system, and then we have to become advocates for the system, and then we have to take up space. Because we
create our own system.
Exactly.
Cooperative economics is everything. We don't understand. If we would pool our resources and our money, how powerful we could be. My God.
We have to understand that listen, we both know the society that we're living in 2026. We don't even have to get into the details of it.
Correct.
But women have always been the strongest link in every society. Every society, women have been the framework of the society. But we have there's a woman calls it the broken cookie syndrome. She said when she was growing up, her mother used to make cookies for them. And she always used to wonder why her mother would eat the broken cookies. Until one day she realized that her mother was taking all the best cookies and giving it to everybody else. And what remains, literally the crumbs, was what the woman was. This is what women. And if you think about that, if you take that thought and carry it to its natural conclusion, this is what we're doing. We are giving our best to everybody. And then we cannot understand why everybody is taking us for granted and saying that we don't need anything more than that.
My God. That's so good.
My great grandmother was an indentured worker from India. My great grandfather was a slave. My grandmother, by the time she was in her early 30s, had 10 children and became a single mother of 7 girls and 3 boys. These are the women who did not have the dream or the access that we had. So what are you trying to tell me in 2026? My grandmother, my great grandmother dreamed of this time that you are living in.
Absolutely. We owe them something. We owe them something. That blood, that sweat. My great grandmother had 18 children.
Exactly.
Yeah. We have a huge family, but we owe them something. And we're teaching our kids that, you're going to get Instagram famous. Listen, we hold our own destiny in our own hands. And I think it's time we speak up, we use our voices, and understand that we are stronger together. We have, for such a time as this, I believe God is calling us out now.
I lost over $150,000 in a deal that went bad.
Mm.
And I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
Because you know why? You know why? It was a family member.
Yep.
It was a family member.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I remember sitting on the steps of my townhouse, and I said, I tell people I talk to God just like how I'm talking to you. No different.
That's how I talk to God. I don't do the pretty
No
prayers.
different. No different. This is how I
He
talk to
knows
God.
what you're
And
thinking before you think it, so I don't know why you do
I
pretty prayers.
said to God, I said to him, I said, you didn't bring me this far for me to just give up at this point in time.
Mm.
And now when I look back, I know that he had set me aside for this season because I had to lose to win.
Absolutely. Oh,
I
lose
had
to
to
win.
lose
That
to
right there.
win. I had
Yeah.
to lose to win. So
This sounds like my
now,
life story.
yeah, I had to lose to win. So what do I wish that somebody had said to me when I was 18 years old, or when I was 20 years old, or when I was 27 years old, or when I was 30 years old, or when I was 40 years old? What is the one thing that I wish? I am going to be 63 years old next month.
Mm. And look amazing.
What are the things that I wish somebody had said to me?
Probably you can do it, right?
One that you could read the memo, but you don't have to follow it.
Mm.
You could read the memo and ignore it.
Mm.
Two, that the only person standing in your way is you.
Amen.
Three, that opportunities are all around you. Get into the circles of women, of people who are speaking the language of growth.
Ooh.
Intentionally choose access.
Mm-hmm.
And that access to you, this is for that access to you is earned and not given.
Mm-hmm.
It is earned, not given.
I
And
co-sign that list.
five is very important, that you can change your life and your mind at any given day. You don't have to wait for permission. And the last one is that you do not have to let fear be the reason why you do not take up space. Because fear is in their pricing, fear is in their decision of always having a scarcity entrepreneurship. Fear is that they do not want to outgrow their community because they care too much about what other people think. Fear is not investing in yourself, so you don't want to take a master class. You don't want to go and spend money on a premium networking event, but you'll spend $1,000 on an expensive shoe or a bag, and you are the one standing in the way of your greatness. What if you decided that I am afraid, but I am still going to step forward, and let's see what happens?
Because the question really is, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, listen, I don't even think about fear. I don't even think about failure again. So I failed today, all right, and I just keep it moving. My point is this. As women, we have a greater responsibility to other women than to any other part of the society. There are things we cannot change right now. We can't change infant mortality. We cannot change the housing shortage. We cannot change the fact that the medical associations and the doctors are not treating Black women well at all. We can't change those things, but you know what we could do? We could start to go in the direction of money, and in that direction, because no matter what color that they don't like, they appreciate green.
That part.
And my job is to help women say that this is where you are, but this is not where you are supposed to end up. Please. So I have two products. One is Power Circle. I start with Power Circle, which is the lowest hanging fruit. I get women to sit with other women to talk about the shame and the fear and the unease that is around money. So it's a safe space.
It's a virtual program?
I'm building it out as a virtual program. I started it as a face-to-face program because I was helping women build businesses and the women weren't getting to break even at all. And I had to, as I said, I had to stop pulling them out of the river and I had to go to the head of the river to figure out why they were falling in. And it was about money.
Mm-hmm.
So bring them into the room. It is going to become a fully virtual offer. Let's just talk about money. Talk about it. Talk about the struggles that you're having in your business. Talk about why this didn't work out. What did you learn from it? Because in the community of women, real ones, there's always somebody who has been where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And they will say to you, girl, I have been here. This is what I did. Or you might be doing this and I might be doing that. There's an opportunity to barter. So that's the first step. That's the first, because I had to bring them in. I couldn't try to hit them over the head with information. It would scare them. So I
learned the barter from Jewish women. Jewish women do it all the time.
All the time. Yeah, all the time.
They do.
None of this is new. And the second one is the Fundable Lab. And the Fundable Lab allows me to tell you, don't listen to what I'm saying. Come with your numbers. You've had a business for 3 years. You've been turned down for financing at least once. Bring your numbers. And there's the Zoma Fundability method. There is a quiz. There's a scorecard. You are going to plug your numbers and you are going to see exactly where the gap is in your business. And then we're going to fix that gap. Mm-hmm. Because I am not on motivation. I am on rolling up your sleeves. Let us see where you are at this particular time. Let us plug in the numbers. Let us see if we could fix this problem. Because a rich woman is a wonderful thing. Nobody ever told us that we can generate our own legacy wealth. Mm-hmm. And it is not a one-of-one situation. Mm-hmm. It's not.
That's why I'm shifting now. My mantle has shifted because I finally learned teach them how to fish. Don't give them the fish, right? Wow. Because you can't. What they say, Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed 1,000 more slaves if I could have convinced them they were slaves. I'm learning that. And it's very painful.
Exactly.
It's extremely painful because it's like, I'm trying to help you. But the funny thing is that I have to put the shoe on the other foot, right? I have to look at some of the things that I'm doing and look at it from a different perspective. But I have learned so much from this conversation from you. Like you said, you have to learn from women who've done it, who've made those quote unquote mistakes, right? And learn from them. So you don't have to make the same mistakes because I believe we are in a time where we have to generate wealth. Not everybody's talking about getting rich. I want to be rich. What is rich?
No, it's not rich.
We need to teach people about what true wealth is. Owning real estate, right? Owning period. Being an owner, right? A lender instead of a borrower.
Exactly. And not only that, when you understand the language of money, then you will understand how money is a tool to change not just your life, but to change the lives of other people. Our time on this planet is limited. I could not have gone through all the things that I went through and not pass it on to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Amen. We're here to serve, not to be served. We're here to serve.
At every point in my life, I didn't have the money to do it. That's why I know for sure that God sends helpers. Mm-hmm. If you are convinced, if you have convinced yourself, or based on the circle that you have found yourself in, that you have been in a circle where people are saying, let us live for today because tomorrow is not guaranteed. So let us eat, drink, and be merry because tomorrow we die. Then you are damning 2 or 3 generations ahead.
Ooh.
That's what you're doing. This is what you're doing.
You didn't say yourself. You said 2 or 3 generations
ahead. Yes, that's exactly what we are doing. In Black and brown communities, this is what we are doing. Ooh. This is what we're doing.
I never looked at it from that perspective. You always think about yourself, right? But not those who come after you. But I look
at every other ethnic group. They are not building for this generation. They are building for at least 2 or 3 generations ahead.
Absolutely. They don't
We
keep their
have
kids out
some.
the house. You gotta
We
go.
have.
Go. They don't
We
do
have
that.
something. We have something that is referred to as a locus of control. As soon as we get money in our hands, we want to buy the most expensive shoe. We want the most expensive car. We want those things are fine. Those things are fine. But you know what? Those are capital goods that devaluate by 1/3 as soon as you purchase them.
Mm, 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 mm.
What do you want to build? Do you want to build money or do you want to build legacy wealth?
Mm.
Look at the women, especially women of color, who are building legacy wealth.
Mm, mm,
Notice what they are doing. Notice how the conversation is different.
This is so good. First of all, I didn't even get past the first section of my questions for
I
you. I
have,
think we need to bring you on once a month. I know you're a busy woman, but this should be a regular series about just about fundability. About listen, check your schedule. I would love to have you on once a month, or maybe we do a 3-part series or something, because
yeah.
we haven't even touched on some of the other questions that I have for you. Because I know for me, a lot of things I have to figure out on my own. I wasn't taught. You
No,
have those
who wasn't
spiritual
taught these
mentors, but what about
things?
those financial, those wealth builders, those women to really teach you? So I know that I'm not the only one who deals with those issues. So I think it's time that we tell the truth and say we don't know. Because how do we
Yeah.
find out if we don't open our mouth and say, I didn't know that? Like, I
I
need
need
help.
help. I need
I need
help.
help.
I
I
need
know I
help.
do.
I
So
don't
I need you to
understand. Yeah.
come on and help me so that we can help others. So if we can get you to come on for maybe a regular, and I'm saying this on air, live, I
Mhm,
want you to come on once a month if possible, like a regular guest, or at least for a
mhm.
3-month period. We do a series on fundability, like being fundable, or we'll talk about it. But this is,
We have to
ooh,
talk about money
we'll
because
talk about it.
there is an entire generation of women, especially in at-risk communities, that are being passed over as if these women don't exist. And the other thing that we have to talk about is the care factor. The fact that
Mhm.
women are building businesses while taking care of their kids and sometimes their aging parents at the same time. So they do not have the time, or at least they're convinced that they do not have the time to do everything. Another mistake that women make is
Mhm.
that they believe that they could do both. So you want to be the housewife and the businesswoman at the same time, not understanding that you have to get back your time.
That part, hire a housekeeper. That
When
really a
Emma Green
housekeeper. How
said,
much
when
can
Emma
you
Green
generate?
said that she's a
Oh my, I think
3 hour
we have to rethink this
mother,
thing that
people
we've been
went
told.
mad.
We got to
When
rethink
Emma
it.
Green
We
said,
believe some of the lies we've been told, and it's time for us to tell the truth. And it's time for women to get courageous enough to tell the truth, because for such a time as this. How about that? What more
because
can I say?
because here's the thing, and I'll leave this with you just to think about. I tell women all the time, I tell my female clients all the time, when mama has a business, we all have a business. You
Hmm.
cannot have a business and your kids don't understand this because you're teaching them something by you making a sacrifice.
Hmm.
Your husband has to be part of the business. And if there
Absolutely.
are people in your circle who are not supporting, then you have to prune. You have to prune. Somebody doesn't
That
live to
part,
tell the tale. Let it be me. Let it be me.
I don't mind. It's time we tell the truth,
Success.
right?
Colin
Because
Powell
women,
said
you
that
have women,
success is very
especially
lonely.
right. There's so many women have lost, especially here in the US. And I forgot to
Mhm.
tell people where you're hailing from. Tell the people where you're tuning in from.
I'm tuning in from Trinidad and Tobago. You notice the background is red, white, and black. I only wear red, white, and black. My brand is red, white, and black. I'm a
Hmm.
fully, I'm a fully fledged Caribbean woman.
She is. If you can't tell by that accent, I forgot. We can't leave that out. I have so many
Yeah,
sisters there in Trinidad and Tobago. I definitely have to come for a visit soon. But I know we're almost out of time. Before we close out, I always close the session. And this is not the end. We're gonna say this is part one. We're gonna figure out where we go from here, because this
mhm.
was so rich. You dropped so many gems in such a short amount of time. I'm excited about what we're about to do, and I know that our connection, God has been calling us for a while now to do
A
something together.
while.
He has for a long time. Well, we've been trying to do something, but his timing is perfect, and he knows exactly what he's doing. It's already written. So I believe a lot of lives are going to be touched. Women from all over the world will be impacted by us having enough heart to say what needs to be said, right? Unapologetically. So with that being said, I want you to share with the viewers one scripture quote, saying that you stand on, like when you're really just that's carrying, not even that gets you through tough times. What is that scripture, that quote, that saying that you stand on that might help another woman move forward?
That your life doesn't change by chance. It changes by choice.
Ooh. I can sit with you all day, all day. Listen, I want to thank, we're going to talk about, listen, ladies, get excited, because I'm going to do whatever I have to do to bring her back on. I think we need to bring you on at least once a month, or we'll talk about a series. Let's definitely talk about it. But this has been phenomenal. That's the word.
Thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for being you, and everything that you've been through is for such a time as this, because you have blessed not only my life, but I know everyone who is going to listen to this episode. I know we're going to have to put some extra money on advertising for this episode, because this is just rich. Imagine, I don't think I ever thought about it from that perspective, like the trauma, the all of those pieces that are, it's all true. But I think I think we don't want to face the truth. But it's time for us to wake up, because if we don't, like you said, how many generations behind us are going to suffer because of our lack of knowledge? Not mine. Not mine. So I want to thank you for being my guest. This has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to, of course, attach all of your contact information to this episode. But is there anything you want to share with the people, how to follow you, your website, and all of those good things? The floor is yours.
Well, my strongest website is LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn under the Fundability Strategist. My website is www.rhondaglynn.com, and I'm also on Substack, Fundability with Rhonda, and I am on YouTube, the Fundability with Rhonda. So it has been a pleasure, and we have just scratched the surface.
I'm super excited.
This is the real talk. This is grown woman conversation.
Because if we don't, we're going to continue to be in shackles, and that time is over. We're not going backwards. We're going to move forward, and we're going to set the captives free, and we're going to do so with, what do you say? The Bible says, be strong and very courageous. And they found the two right women to do just that. So again, thank you so much for being my guest on the God-Led Leader. You are absolutely, without a doubt, a true God-led leader. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Live with purpose, lead with light, led by the Spirit, we rise and lead right. God led me.